Bandwidth for First Updates Now is supported by AndyMark. Are you competition ready? Go to andymark.com and keep your team inspired. And by the Blue Alliance. Keep up to date on all live and archived First Robotics events and team stats at thebluealliance.com. First Updates Now is brought to you by viewers like you. Fun relies on the generous support of our fans in order to continue to keep creating content. Please consider donating, giving bits, or subscribing. Subscribe for a few bucks a month or for free through Twitch Prime. And don't forget that our subscribers get 5x chance to win on all giveaways.
For the first time ever, Michigan hosted 5 district events in a single weekend of competition. We had 198 teams playing, a veritable army of volunteers. 5 more teams punching their ticket to MSC with Chairman's Award, including one huge shocking Chairman's upset. 4 teams earning that coveted Kling Bling. And we're going to cover all of that tonight on InFiMidation. Reporting for First Updates Now, I'm PJ.
I'm Nick.
I'm Allison.
All right, Allison, start us off with what happened in our first UP event this season. How was Escanaba?
Yeah, the Escanaba event was pretty interesting to watch. We had a couple teams come up from up north, 245, one of them being a team to look out for, and looks like they did pretty well. They ranked first at the event and ended up picking 4391 the Brave Bots and 904 D Cubed, and they made it all the way to the finals, and they were up against the second alliance team, who was team 4970 Ice Cubed and 1322 Great, as well as the rookie team 7234 Rebel Robotics, who performed very well for a rookie team, and I think it was their first event, so that was pretty cool. We had a couple Kling Blings going on. We had Great 1322. They won EI, as well as the finalists of the event against the first-ranked Alliance team. So the first-ranked Alliance team beat the second-ranked Alliance team, and then they also won EI, which was great for them. And then we had a chairman's kind of upset kind of deal. We had team 5505 V2 Robotics. It was their first time applying for chairman's, and they actually won it, and they beat out team 1322 and the Robomos and a couple other teams who were expected to win. So that was great for them, and an overall pretty fun event to watch. You can check it out on YouTube. The links aren't on the Blue Lines right now, but if you go to Fim Video 2 on YouTube, you can find the events there. So PJ, what happened? Oh, what's up?
I was to say, what's interesting is that keeps 5505. That makes it their 6th straight event with a medal. Over the last 2 years, they've had a bunch of finalists and event wins. They went 5 for 5 over the last 2 seasons. So even though they didn't win this event, they still went home with a medal. So that's kind of
a banner, actually. Yeah. I think it's their 4th straight banner in a row at an event. So that's cool.
And they're going to be going to Windsor, too. They're one of the 4 Michigan teams going to Windsor. So.
All right. So then I'll hop into talk about Lincoln a little bit. So Lincoln was a brand new event this year. Alliance 1 of 3604, the Goon Squad, 3641, the Flying Toasters, and 5067, Steiner Steel Storm. Went 5-1 in elims, only losing one finals match to the number 2 seed, 3656, 5050, and 6618. They only barely won that first match. They used some really well-timed power-ups to sort of squeak out the win. Like, they played it really smart, and they hit the boost at the right time. They forced it just the right time to just barely squeak out that win. So that was really impressive to watch that match and see that, they were playing from behind for a lot of the match, but they were still able to take that win. Culture-wise, for Engineering Inspiration, 910, the Fully Freeze, took home the Engineering Inspiration Award, which was the first Culture Award in team history. This is only the second time they've ever submitted for Culture Awards. So good job to them. Chairman's 3641, the Flying Toasters, they took home the Chairman's Award, which gives them that double gold Kling Bling for winning the event and also taking home Chairman's. All right, Nick, what happened at Gull Lake?
Actually,
I think Allison is going to cover Gull Lake.
I'll talk a little bit about Gull Lake for you guys.
I got my colors mixed up.
So we had, again, our first ranked alliance team. We had 3538, the Robo Jackets, who performed very well at their first event. at Southfield. They picked Team 6090, the Wayland Wildcats, and Team 4453, the Red Hot Chili Bots, and they were up against the second-seeded Alliance. Just like most events, we had Team 5152, the Autobots, 5843, Flurb, and 7256, Irish Robotics. Yeah, that's cool because it was St. Patrick's Day and Irish Robotics. Anyway.
Yeah, the game announcer didn't mention that every single time they came out or anything.
I wasn't there. I didn't know. Okay. But anyway, the second alliance took the first match. So it was pretty intense for the next two, but the first alliance ended up coming out and killing it in those next two matches. I was pretty impressed. 6090 came in with that scale Auton, which always looks good to me. And we had 5843 Flurb on the other alliance with that scale Auton. So Autons in this game seem to be extremely important and are helping you to grab that scale as fast as you can because, possession's what matters. So that was cool. I saw a lot of great strategy played by that second alliance in the first match. Going for the opposing switch, playing defense, it was extremely important, and that's like how they won the match because you saw they split up. They had a robot on each switch and one up on the scale. I think they had Flurb on the scale. And playing defense, they wouldn't have won unless they took over the first alliance's switch. And then they just weren't able to pull through in the next two matches, but very well played by them. We had Team 1025 MP Robotics take home the EI medal, and we had Team 4381, the Twisted Devils, first win ever for the Chairman's Award. So it was a pretty great event overall.
Cool. We're going to move over to Gaylord. Gaylord actually started off eliminations with a pretty big upset. The number 8 alliance of 5175, 7244, and 5603 actually upset the number 1 alliance to start off quarterfinals. Number 1 alliance was composed of 5234, 862, and 6005. Went to 3 matches. They were really competitive and close. And then moving on from there, the number alliance then went on to lose to the number 4 alliance in the semifinals of 226, 1711, and 5314. So that alliance went on to the finals where they would go on to lose to the number 3 alliance. So the number 3 alliance taking home the win at Gaylord. Number 3 alliance had 5114, the Titanium Tigers from Fenton. 3767 Titan from Traverse City, and 5560 Central Lake Robotics. Gaylord saw, I believe, our first double Kling Bling of the year at an event.
Double Kling Bling?
Double Kling Bling with 1711, the Raptors from Traverse City, winning EI in addition to their finalist finish. And 226, the Hammerheads from Troy, won the District Chairman's Award in addition to their finalist finish. So we had a double silver and a gold silver today. Well, silver gold, I guess it would be. So pretty cool that happened at Gaylord this weekend.
Yeah, and actually, I'm gonna have a proud mentor moment for a second because 226's drive coach, his name's Grant. He was actually my head scout for 2 years in 2015 and 2016, and now he's drive coaching and helping lead 226's strategy and scouting from himself. So I actually talked to him about the event. I snagged a couple quotes from him. So when I asked him, was the 8th seed beating them, was that really a surprise or was that a shock? And what Grant said was nobody was really expecting the 8th Alliance to pull off the double climb that they pulled off since 5603 had never tested their bunny bar. But overall, he said they were actually just better than the first seed. He truly thought that it was a better alliance. So they were surprised but not shocked when the 8th seeded won, when the 8th seed alliance beat number 1. And then when I asked him about sort of why they lost in the finals, 226's alliance, he said they meaning the 3rd seeded alliance involving 5114, said they were able to score 4 cubes on the scale in the first 40 seconds, which was faster than us, so they had the early lead. And sort of as we discussed it last week, was you have that scale control early, you have that first 40 seconds, like after that it's a lot of times it's game over after that early scale.
Yep. Yeah, it's all about, follow the leader. So if you're the leader and they're even with you, they just keep matching you, and it never really gets ahead in the other way. So
yeah. All right.
So how was Milford? You were going to cover Milford this weekend, right, PJ? I know. Yes. I was there.
Yes. So Milford, the big daddy of districts this year. I know that I and many others in Michigan, we were more hyped for this event than Arizona North. I know the rest of the world thought Arizona North was, place to be, but, us hometown folks, we were all about that Milford event. After insane qualification matches, 67 ended up taking the top seed at their home event, choosing 33 and sort of getting a steal of a pick with 1701 down in the 24th spot. As ridiculously overpowered as this alliance seems, they met their match in the number 3 alliance of 3707, the Brighton Techno Dogs, with that dirty swerve that we've talked about. 3536, the Electro Eagles, and rookie 7178, more monsters. After never winning an event in team history, 3536 now has 2 banners in 2018. So, really good job to them. And then 33 seemed to have some sort of mechanical failure in the finals. So, I know it's probably a sore spot, but Nick, can you kind of fill us in on what happened?
No, things happen. So we actually had in semifinal 2, we had an issue with the analog port on our Talon for one of for our steering motor. So we weren't getting any sensor feedback. So we basically drove without one of our wheels for half of semifinal 2 and all of finals. And then because it was handling so poorly, we accidentally hit the scale with our lift, and that broke the lift. So, yeah, it was a bad series of events that kind of just made us pretty useless in the finals, unfortunately. But that winning alliance was really strong. I said it last week. I'll say it again this week. 3707's really smooth and really good. That dirty swerve. And 3536 as well was really strong. And there was a lot of first of all, the event was really deep, incredibly deep, really all the way. The alliance 1 through at least 5, maybe probably could have won the event. I know the 4 and 5 alliance on the way back around got really good steals as third robots. I believe the 5 alliance got Wingspan, and then the number 4 alliance got the Feds, which both of those we were amazed that they dropped as low as they did. And then even though we got 1701 so late, it was insane. So overall, definitely probably the strongest event that Michigan's had this year.
Yeah, and then culture-wise, I was shocked when I saw who won Chairman's at this event, because I figured it was between 503 and 548, right? That's kind of what everybody thought. And then taking home the Chairman's win at the Milford District was 4776, the Scott Spots. So huge congratulations to them. I want unfortunately, I don't know them very well, so I don't know what kind of impact they're doing or what they're doing out there in the community. I'm hoping to talk to them and sort of learn, because they see obviously they're doing something right. So for a young team to beat out teams like 503 and 548, who have been perennial culture contenders for years, was shocking to me. And then with EI, and then 503 did take home the EI win, leaving 548 out in the cold for this event.
Yeah, so the big thing about 503 and 548 getting left out is that they're both competing at Livonia for their second district event. So that means that at most one of them will win Chairman's this year. So at least one of them will not be going to states with a Chairman's win, or possibly both of them. So that's a pretty big deal for those teams. We're going to move on now to our top 25 for the week. After last week was the first week we did this as a show, but we are taking the results from the FRC top 25 polls that you as the community vote on every week, and we are going to be announcing the top 10 vote getters from Michigan. So we're not going to be saying where they are in the overall top 25, but we're going to be putting up where the top 10 were, and there they are this week. So we're just going to talk about our thoughts on it a little bit. I think there was definitely some surprises for us that we think some teams maybe should have been in some different positions. Allison, what do you think?
Yeah, I was surprised a little bit on the order of the list in general, but there's a couple teams who didn't even make it on the list that I wanted to bring up because I thought they performed very well this past week and thought they deserved a little bit of credit. We had team 5460. They made an amazing robot, great speed and agility. Their collecting is one of the fastest that I've seen in Michigan, which is very impressive, and I thought they deserved a little bit of credit. I think they were getting, on average, 6 cubes up onto that scale per match, which pretty high for, I don't know, week 3 I'm looking at. Another
That's an
team,
okay number.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. So then another team I wanted to bring up was Team 4362. They were the Gems, right? They had a pretty good-looking scale Auton that I thought deserved a little bit more credit because, to me, Auton seems pretty important in this year's game because winning possession of that scale early on is really what's going to get you the win as long as you can keep it up. But I thought one more team that I wanted to bring up, 5114. I was at the Gaylord event this weekend, and they pulled off a great win. And I know it's not just the wins that should be getting people's votes on these top 25 lists, but they had a great buddy climb that worked really well all throughout their finals matches. They had pretty decent scale bot and Auton and just an overall solid team, good strategy, and I thought they deserve a little bit more credit this week. PJ, what'd you think?
All right, so I had a couple thoughts when I saw this list. First of all, I mean, the Bees should be lower. Like, the Bees were not the number one team in Michigan this week.
Agreed.
Bedford was not the number 3 team in Michigan this week. Like, they did well, don't get me wrong, but Bedford was not the number 3 team in the state. I think 35-36 should have ended up higher than number 7, which is, I believe, where they were. So they have, like I said, wins aren't everything, but I mean, if you win 2 events, you're probably doing something right. I think at first I thought 60-90 Wayland Wildcats were too low, but as I've looked at it more, I think they're right where they should be. Excuse me, at number 10. They were a very impressive West Side team. I think they're very good. I think they're going to do great at their second event and be competitive at the state level. So actually, I'm really happy they got on the list because I was afraid they wouldn't because nobody knows who they are.
Right.
Couple snubs that I noticed. I think 43-91, the Brave Bots from up north should potentially be in the mix. 37-67, Titan. They've done really well at both of their events this year. 51-14. I think they, as Allison said, same reasoning, that they've done really well. And then 54-60, same reasoning. So yeah, and then all of you in chat as well. Definitely, if any of you have opinions or feelings, who you feel got snubbed, who you think ranks too high, we would love to hear from you in chat right now as well, as Nick takes his turn to rant.
You guys have covered most of what I would have said. Definitely, I'm biased, but even I don't think we should have been number 1 this week by any means. For one thing, the 2 teams we lost to should probably be higher than us. I also think 67 was definitely the stronger team on our lines this weekend, so I would definitely put them above us as well. And then, like I know Allison said it earlier, 54-60's intake is really impressive. They have one that's very similar to the Robo Wranglers out there. And I just remember, like, at one point we were on the practice field working on our auto routines, and they were just kind of practicing using their new intake on the scale, and like they were just popping them out nonstop. So I think they have a really high ceiling this year, and they could end up being that surprise team that goes really far later in the year. But that's gonna wrap it up. So yeah, if you guys have any opinions on what you think, as far as teams that maybe got snubbed, hit us up in the chat, and when we can talk about it a little bit more after the show in the chat with you guys. But we're going to move on to the previews for this coming week for week 4, starting off with Western Michigan. Allison, what do you got for that event?
Yeah, so we got about 8 teams that still haven't played out of the 40 teams going to West Michigan, but it's looking to be a pretty competitive event. We have Team 85, built on brains. They, I believe, did pretty well at their first event, and I'm looking forward to see what they're going to bring to West Michigan. We also Team 107, Team Robotics. They're overall pretty average team, consistently building good robots. So I haven't really checked out their robot this year, but I'm pretty sure they've built something worth looking at. We have Team 141, Wobots. They already played at 2 regional events. I don't think they won or anything, but
they did. They won at it was 1 regional, 1 district, and they won at the it was a Chesapeake district. I'm blanking on which one. But yeah, they went down. They actually won as the 7th Alliance.
They won at the Chesapeake District Northern Virginia event. Okay. They won that event. And then they also competed at Rocket City Regional.
Yeah,
well, there you go. So a bunch of experience and a win. So that looking like they could be a pretty competitive robot up at West Michigan. And then we have Team 2075, Enigma Robotics. They won at Traverse City this year. They were the 3rd robot, but they were playing pretty well, and I'm guessing they had time to improve their robot and make changes as time went on in the weeks and stuff. And then we have Team 3098, the captains. They won at Centerline this year. Pretty good team. We got the Average Joes, 3620. I love them. I don't know why. They're just a very awesome, consistent team. We have Team 4003 Trisonics. They won at Kettering too. I really liked their bot. I think we had a scale auton coming from them, and I'm excited to see if they can improve that even more. We have Team 7054. They were the rookie alliance captain at Gull Lake. They didn't
They're actually a very impressive robot.
Yeah, they didn't win, but overall, very impressive robot and a rookie team, so super awesome for them. One more team. Looks like we got Team 74. They won in St. Joseph. I'm pretty sure they were
Indiana St. Joseph, not the better Michigan St. Joseph.
Okay, there you go. So looking at Chairman's EI, those culture awards in West Michigan, we got 85 built on brains. They seem to be one of the only teams going that have multiple chairman's wins. 107 has won EI and entrepreneurship in the past, so it could be a possible first win for them, but looking like Built on Brains is going to be the team to beat looking at West Michigan. So what about Belleville, PJ?
All right, Belleville is another new event taking place right down the road from Lincoln. So all but 3 or 4 teams have already competed. So the level of play should be much higher at this event. So I'm looking forward to that. There's a few teams that probably weren't super happy with the results at their first event that are looking to rebound. This includes teams like 66, 247, 1481, 2137, 5046, 5090, 5915. So they'll all be looking to earn those points towards states. Then we got some teams who were very successful at their first event trying to keep that up. We had 1189, who was a finalist, 2834 was a semifinalist, 4405 was a finalist, 4680 was a finalist, and 5053 was a semifinalist. And then we have 2 teams that are trying to double banner, get their second wins of the year, which are 5467, who bannered at Southfield, and 5907, who bannered at Waterford. For chairmans, I really think that it's probably going to go to 66. But I think 5090, the Tornadoes from downriver, I think they also have an outside chance to sneak in and maybe snag it. So, Nick, what's going on in Lansing?
Yeah, so Lansing's had a little over half of the teams compete so far this year. 16 of the 25 teams that have competed were able to make eliminations. So most of the teams that are competing have had some kind of success. 5 of the teams have actually have actually taken home a blue banner. But there's also going to be 12 rookies at this weekend's competition at Lansing. So that'll be an interesting dynamic to deal with as well. The favorites this weekend probably are 302, the Dragons, 494, the Martians, and 3357 Comets. They're all coming off wins respectively for Miami Valley, Kettering 2, and the Indiana St. Joe event. 5674, the Gearhounds, are also going to be looking to build off of their strong finalist finish from Waterford in week 2. But the biggest thing I think I noticed about Lansing looking at this preview is that as far as chairmans goes, no team has won chairmans ever going into this event. So that's a pretty interesting dynamic. I'm not sure I've ever seen an event where no one's won chairmans going into it, unless you go way back, obviously. There's a couple teams that have won EI before, but even that's pretty slim pickings. So I think the chairman's competition could be pretty wide open this year. So it'll be interesting to see how that turns out.
All right. Yeah. All right. And then we have a bot on the screen that I've never seen before that Tyler found and is very amused by. I can't see what number that is.
It's a vacuum bot, it looks like.
Looks like a vacuum on an arm.
6078 is the team. Robo Rams from Holt, but it looks like they've got a vacuum on an arm, so that could be cool. Always down with a good vacuum bot. Underrated this year, I think. So watch out.
If you say so. All right.
What do you got going on in Midland, PJ? We gotta go a little quick here at the end.
All right. So Midland really speedy. 18 of 40 teams are going to be on their first event. 6753, the CBA Robo Kings are going to be looking to premiere at this event, probably, and hope to repeat a strong performance from their rookie year. Some of the best teams in the mix are probably going to be your 2619, 5509, 5712, 5424, 5229, and then 3770 will be looking to build on their Waterford win and get that second banner. And then chairman's wise, I think 2619, the host team, has to be the favorite at this event. I'll give 4819 sort of the dark horse long shot to take home chairman's this week, maybe 3770, but I think 2619 has to be the favorite. All right. So, anybody have any final thoughts?
Things are definitely starting to get better as far as quality of play goes. And I think as we get into these later weeks and most of the teams start playing their second events, I think the dynamic of the game could really start to change. So it'll be interesting to see how that all plays out.
Allison seems to have no thoughts.
I'm just saying, I'm really impressed with all those teams getting the double climbs without the buddy hang or whatever, because I did not see it being that like common, but these teams are pulling it out and doing it very quickly, and I'm super impressed and excited to see it continue to happen at other events. So pretty much that.
All right, yeah, and I ditto what you both said. So thank you to everyone who's watched. If you want more FIRST Robotics in your life and like what we do, all that we ask is that you let others know about this show and that this is the place to go for more FRC in their lives. If you have a couple bucks to share, we do appreciate it with if you sub. If not, we totally understand and are delighted to have you on board. On behalf of myself, Nick, Allison, and our producer Tyler, I would like to thank you for tuning in, and thank you to all of our moderators in chat keeping it civil. Our next show is We the North. Talk to you next week on InFiMidation.